Hey there, Friday Night Movie fans. You're about to hear an amazing episode of Friday Night Movie. During All-Star Comic-Con, we had the incredible opportunity of podcasting with the great Ming Chen. He is one of the creators of A Shared Universe podcast network. You should check them out at ashareduniverse.com. And he is also one of the stars of AMC's Comic Book Men with Kevin Smith, and he's just in general an amazing pop culture legend, guru, wonderful guy. He hosted us on his show and then was gracious and joined us the next day on our show at the exhibit booth. So you're going to hear both of those conversations as this week's featured episode of Friday Night Movie. Thanks as always for tuning in. Thanks to Mike and Kevin from All-Star Comic-Con for creating such an amazing community and experience. And of course, thanks to Ming Chen for making time to join the Friday Night Movie family.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Ming. I am live. We are live here at All-Star Comic-Con, everybody, and I'm here with the Friday Night Movie podcast. Thank you guys for joining in. We did this last year, had the whole pavilion, and great success. Big thanks to Kevin and Michael. Please introduce yourselves. This is awesome.
Awesome. So it's, first of all, huge honor to be here with you, Ming. Shared Universe is just incredible. Comic Book Men, all of that.
Thank you.
We are the Friday Night Movie podcast, and what Friday Night Movie was born as was three siblings who are tight. We're like best friends, but live very far away from each other.
Yes, so you are here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Becky's in Berkeley. Lily's in the Canary Islands.
In Spain.
In Spain.
The Canary Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that might as well be like Timbuktu.
It is. It's in the ocean.
It is.
By
It's in
Africa.
the middle of the ocean.
And so,
but it's part of Spain.
when we were kids, all the way through teenagers, all the way through college, we went to the movies together with our parents.
Right.
Every Friday night.
Every Friday night, even in college years.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And the drive home would always be like ice cream and arguing about the movies and gossiping about the family.
That sounds like heaven to me.
Well, and so what we decided we wanted to do was at first create something that could capture that to give to our kids.
Yeah.
So we started a podcast.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing.
Now, 100 plus episodes later, and a ton of amazing listeners, we have brought people into what we call the Friday Night Movie family. And
I'm not texting, I'm literally subscribing to the podcast.
Oh, man.
That's
We're
okay.
seriously honored.
And
If that's the
you
case,
guys should too.
Take out your phone, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. And so what we try to do every week is invite the listeners into our family and be part of our family dynamic, as well as break down all the movies and anything that we want to talk about. So in a sense, you, by having us here, Ming, you are part of the Friday Night Movie family now.
Wow, thank
Modern
you.
family.
I love, I love my family, and my mom and dad are pretty cool too. I mean, they're like, podcast? What is this podcast? But,
Oh, no.
All right, so I'm literally right here, I'm subscribing right here. Bam, like you have a new subscriber right there. Congratulations. The last episode, Aladdin is Hitch and Eliza Sherman's Revenge.
Yeah, our last episode was our last episode was a review of the recent live-action Aladdin, which I think is essentially Hitch, right, with Will Smith, but made into Aladdin, which to me is like the perfect
combination.
blending.
Oh, yeah.
And then an amazing story, which is, and I think you'd probably be into this because I actually compared this film a little bit to the writing of Kevin Smith. Was a film called Eliza Sherman's Revenge. It's an indie film that has not been released. Maybe you've seen it already.
I have not. Tell me about it.
But the filmmakers were kind enough to give us a link, their Vimeo link.
So we could watch it and
we could
review
watch it,
it.
yeah. Stars
really
Jackie
cool.
Geary, who is on The Goldbergs and 13 Reasons Why, and it was written and directed by a guy named Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
And it's about this woman who brings these people together from college who are terrible to her for a dinner that's supposed to be Richard Grieco's birthday party, for which he never shows up.
Right.
And then she gets revenge on them, and it's got supernatural, it's got witty dialogue.
Hold on, is Richard Grieco in it?
He makes a cameo right at the end.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Wow.
He makes a cameo.
Have you ever met Richard Grieco?
No, I've never met
Because I have.
Oh, wow.
He is quite a man.
Okay.
He seems like what a man.
Yeah, he's still got the hair.
Yeah.
He's a little older now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Looks
he just.
pretty much though the same.
So we are very Richard Grieco. We knew Richard Grieco. Becky had no idea who we were talking about. There's an age difference maybe, but like when we said Richard Grieco, we were like, it looks good. It looks good. It looks good.
But that's why I thought it was so funny. I was like, that's hilarious. They're just making up an 80s actor for this movie.
Oh, I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah.
But he would kind of be like, well, if you took a computer and kind of like weird science the perfect 80s actor,
Right.
Yes.
it would be Richard Grieco.
For sure.
Yeah, he was at this at the New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival in March, and we were both fellow guests, which is why my life is so weird. It's like, what am I doing here with Richard Grieco?
That's amazing.
The dude loves karaoke.
Whoa.
Oh, because he's a singer too, right?
Yes.
He has a band and an album.
He does. Yes, you're very
Wow.
well.
You've
You're
been
very,
Grieco
been
fan.
following Richard
Have been
Grieco all
since,
these years.
the
you are very well versed on your Richard Grieco for sure. So there was a whole karaoke party, and he sang like 10 songs. He kept, like 5 songs would go by, and I was like, oh wait, Richard's back. He would belt out, I don't know, like Black Sabbath or something, and he would like a lot of heart, and then he would leave, and then 5 songs would go by, and they're like, oh, Richard's back again. It was awesome.
Do you have a karaoke song?
I do. Sister Hazel, All For You. Are you familiar with this song?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
a great
The
song.
quintessential 90s song.
Oh yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
great song.
They tour in this region like a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess the whole show is that song. I don't know what else they play.
Do you guys remember that when we were kids, sometimes we'd go to like HMV as a family and like buy a bunch of CDs and stuff? Do you remember this? I remember when I was so much younger than you, like I never knew what to buy, and you bought me a Sister Hazel CD.
Ah.
You picked it out for me. You would always pick out a CD for me. I remember
You
that.
picked out
And
for
you
me
picked-
Van Morrison's Best Of.
Yeah.
And David Bowie's best of, which you were like, nah. And then,
I realized I was
How
wrong.
do you guys get along so well? So I had a brother.
We
all
live
do
far
is-
apart. We live far apart. That's why we get along so well.
I mean, you seem like very close, even when you did live together. I guess just good parenting because.
I want to say fine, good parenting. Our parents are good
I mean, our parents are here right now watching our kids, so we can do this.
Oh my God.
So
Okay.
we do have great parents, but
Oh my
I
God, God
definitely
bless
think
them.
I will say this not that we were forced to go to the movies, but a fundamental part was having dinner together Friday nights.
Yeah.
And then we would go to the movies, and then we could go out after with our friends
Sure.
or do whatever. But that time was sacred. So there was sort of this forced.
It was a shared activity.
It was a shared
We
activity
were doing
once
something
a
together.
week that was really not interrupted for anything.
Right.
And we'd often rush through dinner in order to go to the movies,
get to
as
the
if our parents made it clear that the movie and the trailers were the priority.
Right, that's so cool.
Right,
Now, at what point? I guess you grow older. You went to college. I guess you split apart at some point.
We did, like really far apart. Which
Really far
knowing us
apart.
growing up, you wouldn't think we'd live so far
Who was
from
the
each
first
other.
one to leave?
He was.
I was. I moved
Okay.
up to the DC area.
We grew up in
right?
Montreal, Canada.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow,
he's the-
okay.
Yeah,
So
we grew
then
up
he
in,
moved
we're
to
American,
DC.
but we ended up growing up there.
He moved to
Okay.
DC. She moved to Spain,
I moved to
and
Spain.
I initially moved to New York.
Yeah.
Becky's
then-
actually in the film industry.
Oh,
I-
in
I-
Berkeley.
In the Bay Area, I produce documentaries.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
And so, I mean, going to all those movies probably had a huge impact on
I
your
mean,
career decision.
definitely. I think I was very deeply influenced. I was like, oh, this is what people should do with their
Yeah.
lives, That's,
And so I guess the time difference what made it tough. Like Shai would calls me on the way to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
talk every
always
day, even when we're not
movies
podcasting.
and TV and stuff. And then with Beck, it was hard to get the time differences. They're only 3 hours apart, which actually is more difficult. We're
Yeah.
5 hours.
And we're eight
hours. Becky and I are 8
which is
hours.
fine.
And then so Shai was like, when I call you, he's like, oh, this is definitely a podcast. This is our podcast.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, let's make us all get on the same time zone for 1 hour a week. And
Right.
And so it's become this amazing family labor of love. Like we're constantly texting each
cool.
other the bits. We have Google Docs for each episode.
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
just want to be clear about something.
Okay.
We do fight, and we do have secret podcasts where we say terrible things about each other.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
are not just like a perfect happy family all the time.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
In general, we get along very
In
well.
fact, I would say one of the best bits we do on the show is when I talk about something I love and they
we make-
tear it apart.
We make fun of it.
Yeah, that's a big
you've
part
seen
of
Comic comic book men, right? That's pretty much my life.
Yeah.
Where I like something and the other three guys just rip it to shreds.
Part of the love is hating on your sibling and letting them know they're a dummy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing I know that I've done good when Lily will call me a dummy. When Lily says no dummy, then I'm like, okay, you've
Take each other down a notch all the time.
Dummy's a pretty tame term.
Yeah.
Too. I get called way worse than that.
We have small children.
That's amazing. And do you guys have kids? I know you have one on the way.
I have an 18-month-old.
I have a 3-year-old.
Oh my God. Okay.
And I have a 5 and a 7-year-old, and they're running around here today.
Okay, good.
And they're
it's not that big. They'll be fine.
My
Yeah,
7-year-old
that's what I
declared
said.
herself our intern too. So she's like working for us.
Right. That's
I heard
awesome.
there's a slime room. I just put my kid in there.
There is a slime room indeed. Yeah. All-Star Comic-Con has pretty much everything.
Yeah. I need to hit up the arcade room at some point.
Oh, it's amazing. There's a whole room with stand-up. They trucked in I don't know, 15 stand-up arcade games.
Gotta get out there.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, do you take your kids to the movies or?
So my kid, I still a bit little for I think the big screen, but he watched his first full-length feature. He doesn't have the attention span to sit through a movie.
Yes.
But we made it through The Lion King.
The original.
The original Lion King cartoon. I don't.
You didn't get a free preview of Favreau's new one.
No, we're not
there yet.
You know, it kind of was an accident how that one was picked because I'm not sure how, but he made it through the whole thing, which I think says a lot about The Lion King. He definitely panned The Little Mermaid. He was not into that.
Okay.
So that made me sad because that was a huge movie for me as a child.
Sure.
But that was his first feature length. But yeah, watching shows with him is one of my life goals.
Oh yeah.
For the future.
And I'm training my child,
She's
starting
still
now. We just started training
life
her.
skill.
Shai takes his kids to all the movies. Even the inappropriate ones.
Which was the last one? Okay, by the time your youngest was 4, she had already seen all 3 Lord of the Rings.
All 3 Lord of the Rings.
That's good parenting right there.
I took my oldest
That's
child
great parenting.
to see Force Awakens in the theater. I was like, this is a life experience.
It is, yeah. I was there. My dad took me when I was 4 to episode 4. It was cool. So I paid him back by taking him to the first Guardians movie, which I felt is kind of like this generation Star Wars in a way.
Sure.
That first Guardians movie, man, that year I would have given that Best Picture that year.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was such a great movie.
It really is.
Quite perfect.
It really is a great movie. So yeah, I kind of had that same feeling sitting in the theater with my dad watching Guardians, the first one. So yeah, that's amazing. So what was the catalyst for starting the podcast? Do you remember 100 episodes ago?
So I would say
the catalyst is you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have been listening to podcasts for a decade probably. Oh yeah, at least a decade.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
More. I've been early adopter of podcasts, and I always wanted to do it, but I could never figure out what could I do that would be different or special. And I realized I couldn't do it alone, and that my 2 greatest creative partners in life have been my 2 sisters, and it's not. It's not just us talking about movies and giving your regular movie reviews. That's part of it, but it's really about let's capture and archive this experience.
Yeah.
Even building our booth for Comic-Con has been just everyone has brought something. Becky's a producer and came up with the idea for the waffles. And
yes, we have Stroop. These are branded Stroop waffles, everybody. These are branded. These are amazing.
And Lily runs martial arts studios and does conventions and things like that.
Yeah.
So she has the vision for the booth, and then anyway, so we all kind of bring and create, and it's really
Shai's clearly in charge of our gear.
But I feel like the reason that we really started doing it and doing it once a week was so that we can continue this tradition of having a shared activity. Because I think the way that you stay close to people is by doing something new with them, not just talking about old memories, but about creating something
Continuing,
new.
Yes.
Yeah, and
new memories.
We never imagined it branching out the way it has and connecting with so many interesting, incredible people, especially
great,
yourself. That is not something I don't think we ever had a goal in mind for at the beginning, but as it's snowballed, it's been incredibly enriching and fun. Not for a second is it ever not fun, which is amazing.
Yeah, I was with you. I was more intimidating for me. So, Kevin started about 10, 15 years ago, and then he's like, I want you to start a podcast. I'm like, What? I'm like, you're famous. So you had a built-in audience. You're a great storyteller, so people are gonna listen to you. Like, why would anyone listen to me? It's like you don't get it. Like your opinion's so unique. Like you'll find that audience. I'm like, you know what? Just it's a good outlet to. Us geeks, movie geeks, comic book geeks, pop culture geeks. What do we love to do but argue and sometimes whine about things?
Oh, yeah.
The point isn't to just agree on everything.
No.
Kevin's a master, and I mean, one of the greatest ever storytellers, speakers, whatever. But I actually love his approach and why he approached you. I find myself listening these days more and more to podcasts of just people I've met,
right?
People who are not necessarily the most famous person in the world, but they're just like a regular person like us that I can relate to.
Right,
that's
exactly.
enjoying it and loves it, and that's
1,000%.
That's probably why Kevin Smith is such a legend, because he is the fan of fans, right?
Yeah, he's like, you hear him, it's like, oh, I could hang out with him. Like he's not, you feel like
he's not above it.
Yeah.
And I think that if you do it, especially podcasts, for anything other than your own like enjoyment and love, then it's not going to work.
Yeah. Like Kevin's a guy I do want to go to the movies with.
Right. Exactly.
I think everyone.
Yeah,
he probably
would
be the number one person I'd ever want to go see a movie with.
Oh man,
agreed.
he should.
Well, now Ming Chen, actually, you're number one.
Oh, dude, I would.
You gotta come. So you gotta come to our house one day on a Friday night.
Yeah.
We don't go to the movies as much because of the kids, but we'll pop on a movie, and that's whenever we even last night we come back from the All-Star party, and we're like, okay, so what show are we watching? What movie are we watching?
Wow. Okay, right after.
Yeah, but then we fell asleep because we're old now.
I have to wake up very early with small babies.
There's a lot of dancing. It's alright. You expended a lot of energy last night.
True.
It's a heck of an 80s, 90s dance party.
Oh, that was so fun.
That was fun.
That's amazing. So the Canary Islands, is there a movie theater there?
There is.
Okay.
There are
And
a
movies are
bunch.
filmed there.
I gotta say, there's a huge, you wouldn't believe it, but tons of movies are filmed there. They just did Rambo. Stallone was hanging out and walking around. They did The Bourne Identity, Clash of the Titans, Star Wars was filmed there.
Right.
So
wow. Okay.
It's
scenic.
It's incredibly scenic and it's volcanic, so it lends itself to a lot of alien planets.
Right.
That kind of thing. And we have, I would say, a few movie theaters. Unfortunately, I love the Spanish culture very much.
Sure.
I'm a huge fan. The only thing that is negative, I would say, is they dub their movies. So I tend to not go to the movies because I can't watch somebody else's voice.
Right.
There is one theater that will do subtitles.
Really? They
dub?
Oh,
the entire culture dubs movies.
And even though that movie theater's like an hour away for special event movies, you will always
they
make
have
a trip.
one theater that will do original version with subtitles in Spanish. So I will haul my ass down there to go see Star Wars when it came out.
Yeah, and what's the release schedule there? Is it?
So when it's a worldwide release, it's like Aladdin came out, for example, worldwide. It came out for us too.
Yeah.
But then there'll be tons of stuff that it's 6 months later.
I mean, you actually still have a video store.
I actually live next to a video store.
A real old school video store where people go and rent
the hilarious part is the video store actually releases at the same time almost as iTunes.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm very impressed with that.
Sure.
I've tried to explain to the lovely owner of the video store that iTunes exists and Netflix exists. Doesn't believe me. Just doesn't believe me. And people still rent DVDs on my little island.
And they have a huge Van Damme section. They have the biggest Van Damme section of movies I've ever seen.
So it's not Bloodsport.
And I have to say, I've said this on our podcast, there is nothing like going into a video store, browsing, touching the spines of the DVDs.
Yeah, picking up the box.
Looking, seeing those 3 pictures in the back, being is that what the movie's about?
It's tangible.
Oh my God, there's those 3 scenes in the movie.
And so that little guy is calling people, hey man, you were supposed to return that movie yesterday, you're late.
No, there's late fees. Old late fees, $2.50 a day. It's a big deal.
Euros.
And then you got to argue with the guy about if that movie was good, the owner if it wasn't good. It's a culture that is lost, but it's still alive on my little island.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so when do you usually record? When does it?
So we record start. So we have two, I would say, major schedules.
Windows. Okay.
So we
During
record
my kids'
usually-
nap time.
During our kids' nap times on the weekend.
Okay.
And then that'll be for the episode that drops on Friday,
Okay.
which is every Friday. But what we've learned from talking to people who are listening, and just by the fact that we sometimes just can't wait, we'll do a lot of mini episodes that are sometimes not as high quality because it'll be just like us sneaking away on a phone call and taping something on Skype
Right.
and just being like, "Yo, did you guys watch the Game of Thrones finale?" Or when we saw the Spider-Verse, we walked out of the Spider-Verse and we just called Becky on the
From a
phone
bench
and
outside.
from a bench,
So
and we
blown
taped our
away.
reaction.
I was sitting outside a deli. I was like in my car.
And then this week, for example, we did a few mini episodes leading up to All Star. So you can always count on one on Friday morning, and then there'll also be bonus episodes throughout. We're gonna do a bunch from All Star.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you guys have a booth down here. I passed by. I was like, holy crap! There's more podcasters down here. I'm definitely stopping by.
Oh, great.
it would be a huge honor. We're inviting.
If you have time.
Come
Please,
by.
you can come and hang out as long as you want.
Okay.
We're inviting people to come by and be part of the family. So we're doing 5-minute bits. Of course, for you, sir, we'll do as long as you want.
Okay, sure.
We're doing 5-minute bits though with anyone who comes by and to plug something they're working on, but also talk to us and play the games. Talk about the
We have a
different
lot
pop
of different.
culture
We have a
topics.
card game.
You have games.
We
We have a Friday Night Movie Home Edition that we're working on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
A
so.
spinning wheel, when a T-shirt, we'll just give you a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'll definitely grab. I mean, you guys came from so far that.
Dedicated.
I think you might be the furthest traveled.
I might be the furthest travel to this Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Of all the people.
I'm gonna mention to the promoters like, yo, man, there's this girl from the Canary Islands who like really wanted to come to All Star.
Oh yeah. Mike and Kevin, by the way, have been amazing.
They really are.
They are so sincere when they talk about All Star as a pop culture celebration in a community. I've made so many friends here. I made so many amazing creative people. And then last night when I brought my sisters, people knew who they were. They were like, "Oh, it's your sisters! They're finally here!"
Wait,
Pretty cool.
which one's from the Canary Islands? Like,
The celebrity.
So
She's a celebrity.
it's really special.
you came all this way. You deserve all the adoration,
Wow.
the adulation. And,
It's a pleasure, especially Shai came last year to the con and told us all about it, and he got the idea. He's like, we should participate, we should do this. So yeah, it's awesome to be here.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. You guys are welcome to come up and hang out up here as well. It's much cooler up here.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I may say, a lot of bodies, very crowded down there.
Exactly.
And I promise. I see your booth down there too. I could probably.
Oh
spit.
yeah, absolutely.
Right
We
there.
can see you.
Yeah, I could probably spit on you, but I won't.
well,
I
awesome.
promise, Kevin, I wouldn't spit on you.
Okay, that's good.
From up here. So how do we find your podcast?
Okay, so you can follow us at FridayNightMoviePod.com, but also we're really active on Twitter and Instagram. Those are the places where you will hear from us regularly, and that's Friday Night Movie. That's our handle, at Friday Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
And anything else?
I'm Chichi K. Gomez on Twitter, but that's a story you'll have to figure out on the podcast.
Yeah.
Why
You
my
have to listen.
handle
You have
is
to
that
listen.
name.
And I'm Paper BK Princess on Twitter. So you can also call me.
And I'm Pancake for Table.
Yes, which pancakefortable.com I saw was on the iTunes
Yes.
description.
Exactly.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole
That's
other.
Friday
That's
Night
a
Movie
shared
is
universe
part,
thing.
But
Yes.
Friday Night Movie is part of the Pancake for the Table shared universe, I guess.
The network.
Exactly.
And do you remember one group movie going experience your whole family went where you were all just blown away?
Yeah.
Is
there one movie
we got to talk about Seeing Cheaper by the Dozen with our mom. That's
No.
the
Well,
most,
that wasn't all of us.
It wasn't all of us. No. What about one of the most famous ones was when we went to go. I mean, it was not a positive
It wasn't a
experience.
positive experience.
Oh.
Like probably like the worst movie
The
going
Big Hit.
experience.
oh my God! I still don't live this down. Please go ahead.
We all went to see.
So part of Friday Night Movie is we all took turns picking the movies.
Right.
And if you blew it, 30 years later,
Oh, yeah, you
you're
hear
still
about
going to
it.
be hearing about it.
Yeah.
Also, it had to be often they were action movies because
Okay.
otherwise our dad would fall asleep.
Yes.
Because it was after the end of the week, he was super tired.
Yeah.
And so Shai picked The Big Hit. I don't know if you probably don't
Mark
know that movie.
Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. Love
Diamond
Mark
Phillips,
Wahlberg.
Marky Mark. I don't remember who else.
The Big Hit. No, I've never
Yeah.
heard of this
And
movie.
You're-
Don't bother. I mean,
Okay.
I love you, Marky Mark, if you're listening, but not that
And it
movie.
is, but it is so terrible. It's on a level of amazing. It's so bad.
The Big Hit.
Tore it apart in the car.
And our brother.
And to this day, if I'm like, hey guys, want to see, a movie that won Best Picture, and they'll be like, oh, is it going to be like The Big Hit? So I live that down. But hold on.
Yeah, you earned that.
I want to talk about watching Snatched then with Mom.
Oh, yeah.
In the RV. So we took an RV trip so one of our favorite things is to watch movies with our mom.
Yeah.
Because she will, when she starts laughing at like a silly comedy.
Can't stop.
And we went on an RV trip and we watched the movie Snatched, Goldie Hawn and Amy Schumer, the mother. And we were in Glacier National Park. You could hear her in Washington State.
It's like echoing off
the
walls.
glaciers. Yeah.
She's probably still laughing about that movie.
Giggling so hard in that RV. As adult, this was last summer. And like as adults on an iPad watching it in this RV, all of us crammed in there, and we were dying. And she watching it with her made it even funnier. I don't know. It's hard. I can't tell if some of the movies I see with her are actually good because she just makes it so fun to watch.
Right.
I enjoyed it.
I feel that way like a Walt Flanagan. If he's having fun, or Friends
he
in
was in
General.
the Secret Stash the time I went there.
Yeah, he probably wasn't. He doesn't laugh a lot. He's pretty grumpy, but every so often, when he laughs, then you know life is okay. Doesn't laugh. Him and Brian hate everything though. So when you find something that they like, it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
It's pretty amazing.
And do you have a favorite?
Oh man.
Or movie watching experience?
I mean, one's got to be Star Wars with my dad, and then later, 25 years later, Guardians of the Galaxy, for sure. But I took my kids to Force Awakens, and I tried to replicate that whole experience. I was like, man, you guys are. It was like when my dad took me to Star Wars, and I think they enjoyed it. I think, will they remember it finally in 20 years? Maybe. It wasn't A New Hope, but Force Awakens was good, but it wasn't A New Hope. That was cool. In this area, there's a drive-in movie theater up in Baltimore called the Benji's. I highly recommend going up there.
Wow.
They show triple features every weekend for one price. They have the old school snack bar, so you wait in line. The food's better since it's watching movies outside at the Benji's Drive-In Theater. There's nothing like it. One year, I think in the year 2000, I went almost every weekend. I think I missed 3 weekends out of the whole season.
That is dedication and amazing.
I bet my kids would love that.
It's amazing.
Shai kind of made his own drive-in movie theater at his house.
Yeah.
Because he made a porch on his home that's screened in, so it's technically outside with a giant TV, and he watches TV out there with his kid.
Yeah.
That's how I get my outside time.
It is, a little vitamin D. You guys would love this place.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
The screen's 120 feet wide by 120 by 54. I think it's the biggest screen on the East Coast.
Oh man,
it's just
incredible.
Yeah, it's.
Now, can you keep your air conditioning on? Or do you have to turn your car off?
You have to turn the car. The fumes and all that is not good for.
Actually, there's a nice cool breeze.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'm
really
afraid
like
of going places without air conditioning.
Hey, Kathleen.
Yeah, the sun is down. You'll be fine.
Okay.
You'll be fine. Throw some water on yourself.
It's worth it. It's worth the experience.
Yeah, when I lived in this area, I went all the time, and I miss going so much. That's just one facet of kind of the movie-going experience that just doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
And it should.
Sure.
And just because Walmart buys up all the land, doesn't mean it's.
You do see these outside screens though. Like we have a theater in Maryfield, the Angelica, I think.
Yeah.
And there's this little square. They built up one of those, town squares in a box. But they'll show movies a lot on the big screen during the day, like kids' movies. So people are playing in the fountain. It's not the same as everyone watching the movie. It's still pretty cool to see a Disney movie playing for real outside.
Yeah, outside. Yeah.
And then on my little island, we have movies in the summer in the park. Even though it's always summer, so I don't understand how they make that distinction. But in the summer months, I guess because kids aren't in school, they put just a projector.
Yeah.
Not a huge screen, but they show kids
Still
movies
sweet.
in the park at night.
Still sweet.
Yeah.
That's
People
so
like
cool.
to see movies outdoors.
Our friend Nick Franco here on Facebook says, I guess The Big Hit wasn't a big hit.
Yes, that is.
But
Thank Thank you, Nick. I feel that every day from my sisters.
Yeah, well, now I gotta watch this movie.
It's hard. I've tried. Sometimes you'll watch a movie, you get back to it, and you're like, oh no, this was awesome.
Yeah.
This one was hard for me. I tried to rewatch it. It's pretty. I mean, you go back and you appreciate because it's got a great cast, but it's not the same as, it's not the same as going back. It's no Italian job.
No, nothing's the Italian job. Nothing's the Italian job. That's amazing. Well, thank you guys.
Thank
you so much.
I'm glad this con could bring all of you guys together for a weekend.
Special.
And I can't wait to flip the tables and come down and podcast over.
Right on.
Thank you so much, man.
In your universe. So thank you for the stickers and the branded Stroop waffles. I may be stealing this idea because who doesn't like Stroop waffles?
Exactly. Stroop waffles are delicious.
Yeah, thank you. Friday Night Movie, everybody. Subscribe and rate 5 stars, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, whatever. It's on everything. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you
guys
so
are
much,
amazing.
sir.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. You're amazing, man. Thank you.
Thank you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Bye.
I've never seen this before.
Ming Chen is going to do a little podcasting with Friday Night Movie.
Yes, and I'm gonna eat too.
Oh yeah, you can eat. We got more waffles.
We got more waffles.
Well, just
Here, they're right there.
Brilliant, genius, absolutely genius.
As long as
You keep podcasting.
as long as you keep podcasting.
Okay, hey, that works.
I'm gonna set this up so folks can
Don't
watch.
worry, I know where my child is. She's safe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Last time we bumped into each other, I
were
lost
Yeah,
my
he told me this morning. He said, your sister.
We had lost a child.
She found her last toddler.
All right.
You're like that
Yes.
parent who left their kid on the Titanic.
Yeah.
And I was like the James Cameron movie. And I was at a con with Billy Zane, and me and my friends just kept going like, I have a child. Like he picked up the kid so he can get on the freaking lifeboat. And like for 3 days, it was like, I have a child. And
So here we
Sometimes
are.
bits last a long time.
We'll just get going. We'll just get going. We're at the Friday Night Movie booth with Ming Chen of A Shared Universe, comic book man, podcast legend, and I would say now you're part of the Friday Night Movie family as far as we're concerned.
Fantastic. Well, now we have to all go and see a movie together.
Oh my
Oh my
God!
God.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Dream come true.
Yeah.
That would
What
be amazing.
movie would it be?
Ooh, like right now or this year?
Both.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
man.
Like if you
Or
could
if we could
choose
just
in the
pick-
history of all movies or right now.
I think Back to the Future, if we're going to do history
Yeah.
of all movies, Back to the Future.
the first
would be
one.
The
or
first
all
one.
three. All three in a marathon.
We can marathon it, yeah.
Marathon,
Yeah. I mean,
get a nice big screen, get some good snacks.
oh yeah.
Now, folks, if you follow Ming on social media, you are an expert in culinary enjoyment. Is the best way to
I
describe
like to eat, yes.
it. Do you have a favorite movie snack?
I mean, I just love the buttered popcorn. Like,
Oh,
it's got to be
movie-
fresh though.
movie
Fresh
theater.
movie theater popcorn,
Movie theater,
like a
yeah.
hot, fresh movie
Oh
theater
yeah,
popcorn.
just coming like it's just popped out of there, and they scoop in the big. Like they don't sell small bags anymore. If you notice, like you have to get
Troughs.
the jumbo.
Troughs is the word.
trough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
that
trough.
jumbo bucket. It's bigger than my head.
Oh yeah.
But also, it's only like, even if you try to get a smaller bag, they're just like, the trough is $1 more.
Yeah.
Like, what idiot would not get the bucket the size of like
Yeah,
a
that-
bucket
Yes.
of popcorn for $1 more?
Yeah.
And I have been known to, if I don't feel it's fresh enough, to go back and be like, I want to watch you pop it.
Yeah.
Fresh
Yeah.
for me right now.
It is
I have-
your.
Becky holds her
Becky-
movie theaters to high standards.
That is your right, by the
Yeah,
way, as a
it is.
consumer
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
well, you're paying
I
some
don't-
pretty jacked up prices. Yeah.
So you were just mentioning talking to Billy Zane and what you would say to him. We had this funny conversation yesterday where we talked about what we would say to some, like famous people.
Okay.
But like, and you know actual famous people, so you don't have to say anything that would offend anyone that you've met.
I will offend them.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
we're equal opportunity here. I don't care if they're famous or not.
We were joking around yesterday about Harrison Ford, how Harrison Ford is sort of like, I
He's
just
more
don't think,
of like a Han Solo in real life, we think.
he's a little more grumpy. And,
Oh, yeah.
And so like
Yeah.
if I met him, I would just repeatedly say to him, "Get off my plane!"
Right.
Because like I'm not expecting him to like me and be like cool and down to earth.
Right.
So I might as well just.
I would probably lean more to the I didn't kill my wife from
Oh,
the fugitive.
Oh, that
We
would
talked about
be
that too.
So
Or
good.
yeah, I was actually in Chicago last weekend, and we were riding downtown in an Uber. Me and actor by the name of Tommy Walker, who is in the Netflix Daredevil series.
Oh, cool. All right.
And the whole way down, we were just quoting The Fugitive. Like, pretty much, it was a 40-minute ride, so, but I mean, we pretty much condensed. We were only doing the Harrison Ford quote, so pretty much condensed.
You didn't do there's a perimeter and the Tommy Lee Jones
Oh, he
thing?
did that, yeah.
That's
What we're looking at is a hard target search, every hen house, outhouse, shit, like, your target's name is Dr. Richard Kimball. Yeah.
It's a great game.
Do you have another thing that you would say to a celebrity, like if you met them, that would be that kind of a call out? Like,
I think, I think if you named anybody, I could probably pick some kind of line.
All right,
like,
this is amazing.
That's a fun game.
This is a really fun
Okay,
game.
so if you met, I'm trying to.
If you met Steve Buscemi.
Oh man.
That's a great one.
Yeah, because he's so like such a character. I mean, he's in so many things. Character actor pops up in like
I know what
comedies
I
and
would
dramas
say.
and all over.
First thing out of my mouth would be, "What do you mean you don't tip?"
Yes. Yeah. It definitely be something from Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. I don't tip. I don't believe in it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I love it. And then what's his name? Lawrence Tierney or the boss.
Oh yeah.
Comes by and he was like, "Who didn't throw in?" And it's like it was a $1 tip, and he wouldn't even throw in $1. Like it's classic Quentin Tarantino.
That's amazing. All right, so Ming, you're here on the show with us. We want to play with you the Friday Night Movie Home Edition.
Okay.
Are you willing and able?
I mean, I'm here. We're not here to square dance, everybody. So.
We're here to eat Stroop waffles and talk about movies and
Yeah,
pop
we're
culture.
all out of Stroop waffles because I ate them all. So
So you're a black belt in pop culture, so you get to pick any card in the deck from our bit pile.
This is
Okay.
bits, and this is categories.
okay,
categories.
do I show it to you or?
Yeah, you should. It's just
You just get to choose.
You can choose any
I
card.
picked the one off the top. This is LVP.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
It's a fun one.
Now pick a topic card. LVP is
Okay.
your least valuable performance or performer.
Okay.
This is category.
And screen couples.
Oh, screen couples.
Oh,
okay.
least valuable screen couple.
So do you have a least valuable screen couple? One that just
TV,
does not work?
movies.
Does not
It
work
doesn't
for
have to
you.
be.
I'm
just
trying
film.
to remember. There's a film I believe it's called Mr. Wonderful, starring Bill Pullman and Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh wow!
Wow,
Yes,
that
that is.
that's a
I know
championship
exactly
round.
what you're
Before
talking
she
about.
came out in the big
No.
Ellen thing, and I mean, it was clear that she was not into men, even at that time.
That's a
chemistry.
great.
Right, and so this is a romantic comedy starring a lesbian.
And Bill Pullman,
Bill
who's not
Pullman.
necessarily the most like sexually charged
Right,
actor.
and this is before Independence Day, I believe, too.
Oh, that-
Right, yeah, no,
So
this is
he's not
old.
even
This
like
is early
sexy Bill
90s.
Pullman.
Right, he was, yeah.
And it's not to say that Ellen couldn't play a straight love interest,
No,
but at
no,
that
she's an
time it
actress.
just comes off as awkward, just super
Yes,
awkward.
yes, and
That's
I mean,
hilarious. That's a
she's-
great pick.
Yeah, and I don't think you know Dory is Dory. She's a great voice actress. I don't know if I've seen her in live action in anything
actually
recently.
really-
She was in Ed TV with
Right.
Matthew
Okay,
McConaughey.
I mean, so anything in the last 10 years.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
'cause she doesn't need to.
15.
No, she doesn't need to.
There was
And
a
she was-
short thing she did with Sharon Stone on, they played a couple trying to have a kid, I believe.
Okay.
Sharon Stone, I think it's Sharon Stone, on HBO or Showtime, and it was
Okay.
actually really well acted. It was
Okay.
really
I'm sure
well
she's
done.
good,
Well,
but I feel like
mean,
that
she's playing
role.
a lesbian, correct?
Yes.
Sure.
So,
it's,
Yeah, I just
Maybe
yeah,
she can-
Yeah,
yeah. I feel
you know,
like-
again, not to say she can't play a straight female, but it was just.
But
yeah,
I
it was-
feel like
it was-
regardless, Mr. Wonderful is not remembered at all, let
As
alone
the
as a great classic
love couple,
on-screen
yeah,
couple,
romance.
you know?
Yeah, okay.
That's a great. That's a
So-
great pick.
Yeah.
Because the chemistry has to be there.
Who's your screen couple that you would like the least? Like one that you
I
just
feel
don't
like I
buy.
need a minute. Like if
I'm
someone
gonna
else
go,
has an
I'm
answer,
gonna go recent. I'm gonna go recent.
Okay.
You saw The Last Jedi?
I did.
Okay. I just don't buy Finn and Rose. I was all in on Finn and Rey. I wanted to see
Finn,
that.
or Finn and Poe Dameron.
Or
I could
Finn and
do.
Poe.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
Finn
yeah.
and Rose to me was like really forced, and I just
agree.
it doesn't
I
work for
agree.
me. It
I
just
agree.
doesn't work for me.
I agree. And then on the flip side, if you go all the way back to the Phantom Menace, Natalie Portman, Queen Amidala is how old in that? Like 18?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
16?
16.
And Anakin's like, what, 8?
Yeah.
Like, bro,
Yeah.
come on, man. Even
That's
on
weird. That's a
Alderaan-
stretch.
Yeah, even Alderaan, there's statute of limitations.
Yeah.
And there's
Rules,
There's,
yeah.
or not statute of limitations, but there's a age of consent.
Consent.
Yeah,
Right.
do consent. Yeah.
Even in a galaxy far, far away, you can't, and it goes both ways. Like I'm like, and you know, they're supposed to be seen as having a spark, and I'm like, it's so awkward.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
Where you got a
They're
visitor.
behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. You see it?
Hey, Silent Bob. What's going on?
Does that happen to you a lot? You just
It does.
Everyone from the Ask Universe comes up to you?
Yeah, or I come up to them.
Oh, okay. So what Ask
picture.
Universe cosplays do you see the most?
Definitely the Silent Bob, and then maybe neck and neck with that is the Kevin Smith in a hockey jersey.
Oh, okay.
Because you can buy the same model jersey that he wears.
At least you know he won't interrupt you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he might crash through a wall or try to fly through the air or something.
I want to see someone do a really good Dante. I want to see someone do
no one's done that.
rock a flannel shirt, walk around saying, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah, if you don't get accurate, it's a House of Pain t-shirt from vintage 1990. Flannel shirt, Doc Martens, and just like acid wash jeans. Very Jersey.
Oh, man. Clerks, life-changing for me.
It's a good game, man.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do another one.
It's essentially our show turned into it's good cue cards for us. All right,
Yeah, it's great.
let's do another round.
Okay, we got pick the top card. We have top three. Okay,
Top
always
three.
good.
Okay.
Always
And
good. Yeah, can't
gonna
go wrong with
go
the top three. We
with
have a
the,
few easy ones, you
category
know.
card.
Yeah, these
We'll go
aren't
with
our
the
hard
middle
ones.
That's
there.
okay.
And movies and TV you were too young to see.
That's a good. That's
okay,
a good
and
combo.
then
That's
you-
actually a good combo.
Ooh,
Top
man.
three.
So like for me, like my number one movie that I was too young to see that
Okay.
I'm so glad I saw.
Right.
I saw Revenge of the Nerds when I was like 6.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
glad you saw it or traumatized you because mine was Deliverance and I am still traumatized.
Not okay. Mine is Predator, which Shai made me watch when I was probably 7.
Get to the chopper.
I was
Great
so
movie.
terrified.
Yeah. You were 7?
Yeah, probably about 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you would have
mean-
been. No, maybe I was 8 and you were 11, something like that.
Is that traumatic? Did you think you were wind up in a jungle somewhere and with an alien stalking you?
We don't do well with scary
we don't do
movies.
well with like scary movies,
Okay.
and then on top of that, I didn't understand the plot. I didn't know who the bad guy was, so I think every single person in the movie I thought was the bad guy.
Oh,
like I think
okay.
when you're that age, you need to know like good guy, bad guy
Right,
a little bit.
right.
And I
You
just
can't
was
really
like,
go
I
from The
don't-
Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
So
to
Jesse the
Predator.
Body, a villain. Arnold, villain.
Exactly. Danny
Yeah.
Glover.
Danny Glover, villain.
Villain.
Carl
And it-
Weathers, villain.
Oh,
Danny Glover, hey, Predator 2, underrated flick as
Oh,
far as
fine,
I'm
for
concerned.
sure. Oh, yeah.
Predator 2 is the ensemble in that one is also
I've learned
awesome.
to appreciate them with time, but I
Paxton.
couldn't watch
Yep.
that
Maria
movie for
Conchita
so
Alonso.
long.
Yep.
Oh, that's a great. I
Yeah.
love.
Anyways,
And
I
Danny
don't.
Glover.
That's ours,
When I was 8, I was really into G.I. Joe in the military, so my dad was like, hey, they're showing the Deer Hunter.
Oh my God.
It was like the local college or something. He's like, well, this got a lot of military stuff on it. He'd never seen it, but he saw this bunch of guys going to war, right? And, and I was like, why are these guys shooting each other? Like, they're playing Russian. Is this Russian roulette? Like, yeah. It was maybe a little too heavy for an 8-year-old. Perhaps Academy Award winner.
Yeah,
Great movie.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Great actor. I think De Niro's in it. I think. And,
Walken.
yeah, Christopher Walken.
Walken,
Yeah,
De
yep,
Niro. I don't remember the other
All-
folks, but Walken and De
All-star
Niro.
cast, but for an 8-year-old, maybe a little too much.
A little early to be introduced to Russian
Yeah,
roulette.
the traumatic times of Vietnam.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So okay, now let's segue from this for a second. I want to talk about a shared universe podcast studio and like your work. You've created this incredible thing that
Yeah.
I feel like is spreading like this thing that we love as podcasters.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, basically it boils down to. So I've created and opened up a recording studio specifically for podcasting. It's a podcast studio, and it's called the Shared Universe. The name was come up by Mike Zapsik. He was. So the meaning's twofold. One, in the comic, we love comic books, of course. So in comic books, a lot of the villains and superheroes share their universes. They cross over. They dip a foot into each other's pools every so often, and we always love that. When like Superman would show up in Spider-Man's world, which happened once, that was mind-blowing. Or
Oh yeah.
but however, everyone comes in and they podcast on millions of different topics, and we want them to share their universes in our studio.
Wow, that's
And
great.
it's pretty cool. But basically, we were sitting around one day. It was like, we have so much fun podcasting, all of us. Kevin started it. Passed it on.
Smodcast. He started it with Smodcast, right? Oh man, I remember
way
the
back
early.
in 2007.
Oh yeah, I was listening from the beginning. I remember discovering. I was like, wait a minute, I can listen to Kevin Smith talk all the time for free.
an hour, like once a week,
Right.
with Scott Mosier. Like, this is awesome.
Oh man.
And they started. I heard how much fun they were having. They were just always laughing at. They could read the newspaper and pick out a news topic and spin it and have fun. And he passed that love on to us, and we were like, wait a minute. can we show, like, we have so much fun doing this. Can we show other people how much fun this is? And the answer is yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, we saw a podcast when it was growing. And we were like, everyone down to the local business. I think every business should be podcasting. It's literally the cheapest and best way to digitally market anything. But we want all the geeks to come in as well and talk about Game of Thrones and movies, and and I, as a geek, like, what's the one thing we have that no one can take away from us?
Our opinions.
Yes.
Our opinions. 100%. I know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
the great part about that is, like, if we go see a movie and it's awesome, great. We're gonna talk on and on how great it was. If it sucks, we're gonna talk about it even more. And not only that, like, there's a need to just get it out.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
We often say with Shy, I feel like it's almost group therapy.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
in a certain way,
Yeah.
especially with certain movies that, I mean, if you don't like a movie, it's great to like break it down and talk about it. But sometimes I feel mostly with Shy, it's traumatic, or you're so disappointed in a certain thing, and like you need to talk it out and work it out.
I'll admit, and the Last Jedi just messed me up.
Sure.
It's a running bit
was
that
like
I'm like made fun of on this
That
podcast.
was-
But in fact, like, the podcast became a therapy session to deal with it, because we couldn't just keep having phone calls.
Right.
It was like a lot.
Because I would call
It was
them and I would
like
be like,
random
Like,
times
oh
of
my
the
God, did
day.
you
I
see,
thought
like,
of.
what, dude?
And
Like, come
we've
on.
had the privilege of speaking to some really great guests on our podcast. One of them is Mike Roberts, who's an amazing creator,
Director. If you know
Animation
Final
director.
Space, Final Space on TBS animated
No, I haven't
series?
seen it, but-
or Dallas.
I
and
think you'll like
Robo
it.
That was on YouTube. Yeah, it's very got a
Okay.
great sense of humor. He's
Yeah.
a great director. Anyways,
animation show. And he also, I mean, he's in the industry as well, and he had a lot that he wanted to say about it, and a lot that he wanted to share. And so that's one of the, like, I love about what you do is that, and we talked about this when we visited you on your podcast, that it brings people together across all lines. There's really no hierarchy.
Right.
When you're sharing like a geek opinion.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome.
Yeah, but that we tell people it's like it's very low cost therapy
Right.
podcasting.
Yep.
Right.
awesome.
And at the end of the day, you get to take home a record of it that you can
Yeah, it's
that lasts
true.
forever. So
and I feel like my favorite podcasts are the ones that are just a little bit Wayne's World. Right?
Right.
Like if it's too polished and too perfect.
Oh my God, yeah.
I admit I'm not into Serial, and I'm not into the ones that are basically just the radio turned into a free
podcast,
download.
sure.
I like the ones where it's real people talking about real stuff as if you were sitting down with them.
you hear a dog barking in the background, or it's like, hold on, I gotta go to the
It's
bathroom.
often Becky's dog.
Which
usually my
Mike does
dog.
all the time. In the middle, I'd be like, dude, I gotta go take a leak, and he'll just leave. And I'm like, dude, like, you couldn't have gone to the bathroom before we started recording.
Again, often
Sometimes
Becky.
we record for very long times,
Sure. Okay, I understand that, but he'll literally just get up and leave. I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Hold it in.
Yeah.
So in terms of interviews for
Yes.
your podcast,
Yes.
guests.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to know who some of your favorite folks to talk to have been, whether they're famous or whether they're your mom. Like our
Right.
mom is one of our best favorite guests. But also, how do you prepare? Give us, can we some little insider tips?
So
on prepping
I
for-
recently recorded one with my mom as well,
that's amazing.
I thought it was pretty cool. I was kind of like.
That you'll have forever.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
I
cool.
I actually don't know a lot about her backstory. I didn't really know how my parents met, and stuff like that. So we went back to the beginning, and it was pretty awesome.
That's
You know,
incredible.
it's
Very
funny.
special.
I was like, hey mom, like, I'm still trying to explain the studio concept to her. She doesn't get it. Like, she wants me to go get a desk job, which I can't work. I'm like, Mom, I can't work for the man anymore. Like, I've done that. It sucks. She's a studio. What is this? So I was like, well, this is what we do. So. Sit down. I want to interview you. She's like, oh, I just woke up. I'm not made up. I'm like, come on. It's
so cute.
all audio. So that was cool.
That's really special.
Of course, I like talking to Kevin and Jay because they're just interesting guys, and they started all this. We were lucky enough to talk to one of my favorite supermodels from the 80s and 90s.
Oh,
wow.
If you're a
Who?
fan of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue from back
Believe
in
me,
the,
I'm well acquainted.
yeah, we were helping out with the local TEDx. We actually suggested, they do all the talks in one day, But we're like, why don't you bring your speakers on and we'll podcast with them for half an hour so
That's
the
amazing.
audience members can get to know them a little better.
That's great.
And they're like, oh yeah, our headliner is Paulina Porskova this year.
Oh, wow.
You might know her from the Cars videos as well.
And star of Her Alibi.
Yes, yeah, one of
With
A
Tom
movie
Selleck.
I
Tom
was
Selleck.
forced to watch with Shy extensively as a kid.
Yeah, great movie.
Great
And
movie.
She's actually really good in it.
Oh yeah.
But they're
As the
like,
murderer / circus.
yeah, you
clown.
don't know.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
Hence Her Alibi.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're like, hey, I think we can get her to come and podcast. I'm like, get out of here. No way.
Oh, that's
like,
great.
The Paulina Porskova, and lo and behold, one day she walks through the door,
Oh my
and
goodness.
she sits down in the seat. We give her a bottle of water, and me and Mike got to interview her we went for about 45 minutes.
Now,
Nice.
She was super cool.
when you sit down and talk to someone like that, right? Like I always have
Yeah.
this thing. I always want to make sure we leave time to talk about whatever anybody's
Yep,
working
of course.
on, or just something else they want to
Right.
give awareness to.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I just want to hang out and talk to them,
Yeah.
and just talk about like movies and play the game and
Yeah.
all that stuff. How do you balance that with the Paulina Porskova? Because I would just pass out.
I thought I was gonna pass out, but she turned out to be super cool. And so we had to talk about her TED Talk and what she was working on now, and just kind of her path that she got there. We got to fit in some fun as well.
That's great.
And then usually no one's really in a rush to leave after a podcast for the most part. So yeah, we got all the fun stuff in the beginning and at the end. I try not to talk too much in the beginning because you just blow all the stories, and you don't want anyone to have to retell them when you're actually recording.
Oh, that's
So I
try to-
That's
Yeah.
happened to us.
Yeah.
We'll be on the phone sometimes.
Yeah.
So we talk every day.
Yeah.
We talk pretty often. They
Yeah.
talk every day. And sometimes Lily will start telling me something,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, stop.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Save it, save it.
Save that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something Kevin taught us where, we hadn't seen it in a while. I'm like, oh my God, like you won't believe what happened like yesterday or last week, or Walt Flanagan got into an argument with the meter maid because he was throwing quarters in everybody's meters right before she got there. And he's like, whoa, save it, don't tell me,
We get,
record, bam, all right, what happened?
We get
That's
a
it.
lot of texts. There's a lot of texts between each other that just say, I have a story, remind me
to
for the
tell
pod.
it.
And
Yeah.
then with
Lily had one the other day where she was going to sit down to watch a movie with our
Okay.
parents, and I had sent them the link to the movie to watch.
Yeah.
And I was asking Lily, like, what'd you think? She's like, I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah.
I can't. I was like, I
can't tell
can only
you.
tell this story
Right.
once. It has to be fresh.
Yep.
And
It was killing me though.
I'll retell
It
a
was-
little bit, because Lily takes a
good.
very long time to tell her stories.
But
And
I do a good job.
she
course.
does a good job. A lot of
a
details.
lot of
But
backstory, a lot of
essentially,
detail.
whatever link I sent them, when Lily went to AirPlay it to the television,
Yes.
the movie that I sent them was playing
On my phone.
on her phone.
Okay.
But what was on the television was softcore pornography.
Oh, nice. All right,
Yeah,
skin in
with my
that.
parents.
Okay.
Yeah. And it took me a while to realize, like a solid 10 to 15 minutes, to realize what was happening.
Oh, it took that long?
Yeah, they kind of picked up on it before,
Right,
and I was like,
right.
just
Well,
wait.
she lives in Europe.
Right.
you know?
So
Right.
there's more boobies in Europe, I guess.
Oh,
So-
sure.
So I was just like, no, my mom was like, this doesn't seem like the plot summary Shai said it was. And I was like, wait for it. Just wait for it.
Right.
He doesn't give a lot of backstory. This could be her past. I don't know.
Right.
It
Is this
was
I don't remember
awkward.
sorority being in the
Yeah.
movie. Like, wait
Exactly.
for
It was
wait for
awkward.
Like, oh.
And then I realized, I was like, this is not it. Where's the off button on the TV? Just touch it on
like,
the
well, I'm
button.
invested in this now. Like, might as well. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Like, are they gonna?
I do wonder if they ever got together.
Are they?
A
Yeah.
lot of
Are they gonna
eyes.
raise enough to buy the bikini car wash or not?
Right, that is often the plot, right?
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's often the plot.
Yeah, girl inherits like a car wash, or my favorite one. There's a movie called Bikini Drive-In, which I
Okay.
love driving movies.
Oh,
Oh, right,
I
we
mentioned
talked about
this.
that. Yeah.
And it was it's
Bikini Drive-In.
Bikini
That's
Drive-In,
amazing.
yeah, and girl inherits it from her uncle or something, but doesn't have enough money to land. They have to sell it, so she starts a Bikini Drive-In, and it's.
That's-
I mean,
and
it
they
makes
raise the
perfect
money.
sense.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Makes
it
perfect
combines
sense.
like two of my or three of my favorite things actually. Let's be honest here. So yeah.
That's
Oh,
great.
there's an unrated version which I had to hunt down.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. Have you, because Shai, I am very impressed. Like, he doesn't work for the FBI, but maybe he should. He is able to find, go down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
to find versions of something or an original, thing we watched when we were kids that we only had on VHS.
There was a TV special
Yes.
we saw on CB. We didn't know where it was from. We just knew it was called Misunderstood Monsters.
Okay.
It played once as an after-school special.
Right.
unfindable anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I went to like an archive. I found out like what the actual name of it was, and then bought an original can, like the original film print.
Oh my God, really?
From someone's estate in
Holy
California.
crap. Did you have it transferred?
Yeah.
And then had it transferred.
Holy crap.
And now it's on Plex for the three of us to watch for eternity.
On his private server.
Wow.
But have you
Thousands of
ever
movies.
like gone down a rabbit hole of like I need to find this?
I
one
mean,
thing?
back in the day, like stuff like that only existed on Laserdisc, so I invested heavily in special edition Laserdiscs, and I think the first one I bought was the Aliens extended, extended cut with the sentry guns, and there's some more dialogue.
Is that the one with the open a little bit more of the beginning where they show a little bit more of the planet too?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a whole
little bit of Newt's backstory.
Yeah, there's a whole scene where you see Newt's parents going to rescue somebody, and that brings the xenomorph into LV-426. It's a whole thing. It's in the novelization as well, but and then there's a
and in the graphic novel.
It's in the graphic novel as well. Yeah, there are a bunch of cool extended scenes in there that they just cut for time. Like they easily could have left it in; it wouldn't have affected the story. But that was my first eBay purchase in 1996.
Oh wow!
So I had to send them. There was no PayPal, so I had to
send a check.
Post office money order.
Wow!
And it was
That's
like $80,
wild.
and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm
Now it's
sending
just
this
Venmo.
to a dude.
Right.
I probably won't get it back, and like if I get the item, then I'll be lucky. Like you really were taking a shot in the dark.
Right.
And like the only weapon you had was the review. Like you could leave, if you don't get it, you leave a bad review. But
Right.
no one really cared back then. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. But I guess when folks collect something like that, they very much they appreciate someone went out of their way to kind of find that, and they're kind of excited to send it, I think.
And then at the stash, there's a period where we were bootlegging like hard to find stuff. So there was the $6 Million Man Bigfoot episode, which crossed over with the Bionic Woman.
No way.
And it started on one episode of the $6 Million Man. If you wanted to see the conclusion, you had to watch on the Bionic Woman the next week. So that was
Wow, that's very
before
advanced
before the
cross-promotion.
Arrowverse crossovers,
Yep.
you had those.
Yeah. But it was available on. It's not on DVD yet. There was a rights issue, I think.
Oh.
So Walt did track down a VHS copy at a Comic-Con probably, and I converted to DVD, and then I made like really nice artwork, and we were selling those at the store. Sold them online.
This is why I feel at home with
Right,
this world.
exactly.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
until the day Kevin came in, he's like, "I'm a filmmaker. We can't be selling unauthorized copies of anything. Just listen. I know.
I get it, but
Yeah, I get it. I do. As a fan and collector, I get it. But like morally, like we can't be seen doing this. So
Yeah, I will collect stuff that is not available. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I won't sell it or anything like that. But for something to have that I don't want,
Right.
that if they can't figure out a way to give us the rights, then the fans have to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And then they get the rights. I'm happy to pay for it.
Sure.
like Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Buckaroo Banzai.
So
right?
hard.
What? The sequel hasn't been made yet. Oh yeah,
Right,
that's
they
it.
can't
Right? Wasn't
make
Kevin
it,
almost
right.
was going to work on that
He's
show?
still on it. I think it's gonna.
Right,
Yeah,
tell
he's
him we
still
fully
attached.
support.
And not only
Yeah.
that, I
Fully
saw
support.
him tweet about that. We are
Yeah,
a hardcore
huge
Buckaroo Banzai
Buckaroo
fan.
Banzai
family.
fan.
Yeah, you tweeted when you tweet with.
And if there is
you were
one
tweeting
person
it.
in this world that should be allowed to make
It's
a
Kevin
sequel
Smith.
I
to
believe,
Buckaroo Banzai,
yeah.
it's him.
Yeah.
I believe
Like
so.
they should just find a way to do it because he would do
I
so right
think
by
it's.
it.
I think it's literally in the works as we speak.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
great.
man.
Because I remember it's
That
held
would
up
be
for so
so
long because of a
great.
rights issue,
Right,
and
yeah.
like the fans should not be punished by the rights.
No.
Such a great character. Think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it, like the samurai brain surgeon.
So great.
Musician.
Just
So
incredible,
great.
incredible opportunity.
It's one of my
Well,
favorite
I'm very
movies.
conscious of your time. I know.
Oh
you-
yeah. Hey, we could do this all day. Though.
Okay.
I know, right?
I don't
That's
want
the thing.
You
That's
give
the
us
problem.
the signal
Into
when
it.
you when
Okay.
you give us a signal, but yeah, we could talk to you nonstop.
And do you have like a favorite top 3 or like movies that you can't live without?
I mean, my top 5. I'll give you top 5
Sure.
are Aliens, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Star Wars Episode 4, and Shawshank Redemption.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
Shawshank.
And
Shank's number one rated
there's some
movie
ones
on
that flip flop depending on what day. Like I love.
You gotta leave the extra spot in.
Yeah, I love the original Highlander. With Christopher Lambert.
Do you ever watch the Goldbergs on ABC?
I've not religiously, but I know they make they're the kings of making great references. to
Great
everything.
references, and I'm very deep into that fandom.
Yeah.
I'm also on the Gold Nerds podcast,
Yeah.
and they they did a Highlander episode this year that was amazing, and they got Clancy Brown to be in the episode.
And that's awesome.
It was so great. I don't know him personally, but you can tell when someone's being a good sport about.
I think any guy who has a voice on SpongeBob SquarePants, or has done multiple voiceover acting like Batman and
Troll Hunters.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen Guillermo del Toro's Troll Hunters on Netflix.
No, I haven't.
We watched that with the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm as into that as the kids are. It's brilliant, and you got Clancy Brown. You got Clancy Brown is the one I'm coming to my head. But I think Angelica Houston does a voice.
Sure,
I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
So. What else was I going to ask you? Okay, so Shared Universe.
Yes.
Now, in addition to Shared Universe, you attend like every Comic-Con that I can think of.
I'm trying to hit every one, yes, and there's literally thousands of them now. But I love this environment, though. I've been going to cons since I was a kid, and they were not this good. So the fact that
I remember when they were just like in a hotel lobby and just some dude selling comic books.
There was a weird dude selling with long boxes selling comic books, and that was it. And maybe you would get a guy selling like movie theater programs or lobby cards and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Back when that was popular, or there'd be a couple vintage toy dealers, maybe, and then they would have some like a random artist or creator from the area signing prints or autographs or books or whatever. And that was it, and that was still fun, just digging for comic books and walking away with a cheap collectible or something. But now it's every weekend. I love it.
So you go to the big ones, you go to the smaller ones, you go to the mid-sized ones.
Yeah.
So I've been to the huge ones, or not huge. I haven't done San Diego or anything like that, but Awesome Con here is pretty big now.
It's pretty big.
It's a big East Coast con now.
It's pretty big.
And then All Star, I would say, like, you call it smaller. I call it intimate.
Sure. For sure.
It's a local family atmosphere.
Yeah.
What are the things that you love about different cons? Like, what makes the differences great?
Each of them have different atmosphere, a different heart. I mean, they're like people. Each one is different. Some are run fantastically, and like this has a very family feel, but they also have found a way to kind of make it like a big party.
Yeah.
When you come here, it's like a party and a con combined together. And
Friday night, I feel like I was at a bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
We were just like dancing to 80s music, had so much fun.
Yeah, but so you have
meeting
your booth
people
and,
that we ended up meeting throughout the weekend, seeing again.
Yeah.
It's like camp or something for the weekend.
Right, it's fun and it goes fast, and you make a lot of new friends. It is like camp, for sure. And some of the bigger ones have amazing celebrity guests, like there's Chris Evans, just kind of he's eating a hot dog, or
no biggie.
Or back in the day, like I've been in a couple like green rooms where it's like Adam West and Stan Lee and and Mark Hamill. It's like a weird like pop culture fever dream.
Can we
Right.
talk
Wait,
about
have
Hamill
you
for a
met
second?
you met Hamill?
Because Hamill is, so we were talking yesterday about the all-time people you'd want to sit down and have a meal with.
Yeah.
And my top two are Frank Zappa, who's dead, unfortunately, and Mark Hamill.
Right.
Because Hamill, to me, unless he's totally different than what he conveys on social media, seems to be the most wonderful, self-effacing,
such a mensch.
genuine
like a good guy.
Yeah, I believe that's him. Yeah, I mean, I've met briefly. I got a photo with him, so it's literally like 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
And I know him and Kevin worked together. Obviously, he was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if he's in the reboot. Don't tell us.
I don't know if they got him back. I think he was too busy.
Right, because now, I mean, he's rightly blowing up. Did you see Brigsby Bear? Brigsby Bear is like an indie movie.
Yeah, no, I know the movie. I didn't see it though.
Oh, it's so great.
Hamill
It's really special.
has a dramatic role in that movie.
Yeah.
Not a lot of screen time, but a dramatic role in that movie. And it's peak Hamill. It's like, you're like, we need to see this all the time.
Right.
This kind of.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing because I get very defensive. I'm a Luke Skywalker fan.
Sure.
He's my favorite character.
Right. He's the hero.
Yeah, he's my guy. And people always are like, oh, he's so whiny. Oh, Mark Hamill's not as big a star as Harrison Ford. But to me,
cares.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. But back to the convention. Yeah, they're all just kind of run differently. Some are. Some of the ones aren't as fun. They may be more focused on making money. So you can feel that walking in, and you see how that's run.
And then the big ones just seem like a completely different world, like
Yeah,
San
you
Diego.
have to divide and conquer.
Right.
If San Diego's like, oh, have you, that's the con, right? I'm like, yeah, I've been. It's fun. It's a lot of people. And I mean, the funny part about that is once the doors open, people are running to various booths just to get exclusive figures or statues.
So they can sell them on eBay?
More or less, or they'll buy two, one to collect and one to sell. And at times, like selling that one extra one will pay for their entire week there. So, and I can't blame them for that. Like I would do the same thing.
Right. There's a business side to it.
Yeah. However, it's like that's all. You're literally standing in line for 5 days for the
Right.
Or camping out for or a Hall H panel. There are people who camp out 24 hours to see like the Game of Thrones panel.
Right.
And those are not like streamed in the building, right? You can only see.
No,
it if you're in
you
the
gotta,
room?
you gotta go to the panel room, which if it's 7,000 people, but there are 150,000 people there, so it's still your chances are getting it. You have to wait in line to get there. So
the only panel I have ever stood online for, was Weird Al Yankovic at Awesome Con recently.
Yeah.
Because that is one of my heroes. He's my number 3 person I'd want to hang out with. He might even be number 1 living. And that was great. And there was just enough people for the room, so it wasn't like crazy. But yeah, going to a con and just standing online for a while, that's stressful too.
Kind of like Disney World, but the line is longer.
And you may not get in.
And you may not get to go on the ride.
Yeah, and there's no ride there, but yeah, Weird Al, I got to talk real briefly in the green room, and we talked about. I was like, why isn't there a Spatula City? Like seriously, I'm always looking for one. Like the commercial from UHF.
That is what when we name this episode, it's going to be Ming Chen / Why Isn't There a Spatula City?
Yeah, and he
that's
said
all.
if you watch the movie, there's a billboard because the fake commercial they're driving the kids. And he said like they made a real billboard and it got I think it was in Oklahoma, I think Tulsa maybe where they shot it, and the billboard was up for like 3 months or something. And people were trying to find it. They thought they were looking for a Spatula City, and I'm like, well, that's just proof positive that there's a market for this. So
well, nowadays,
buy 10 spatulas and get the
one for the 1 penny.
Yeah.
And what better way to say I love you than with a spatula?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest movies.
Really.
So when you're out on a con and folks recognize you, talk to you, want to take a picture and all of that, what's your like approach to that? What's your advice to people who are doing that? Because like when I meet someone who I admire, I never want to meet them and then walk away from that experience.
Right.
Like Lily was with me once when we met one of my heroes, and I wasn't sure how it went, and literally
It couldn't have gone better.
10 years later, I met him again, and we were cool.
Okay.
Not that he remembered me, but
yeah. We met 2 of your heroes that night.
Yeah. But and it was
one went really well, the other one not so great.
And it haunted me for 10 years until I met him again, and I like reversed in my mind what I was going to say.
Okay, we're good. You forgot all about the other one.
So what's your advice to fans when they meet folks, whether they come up to you?
I love it. So if even if I'm like eating dinner at Applebee's, like come say hello because you might not get that chance again. Like I can take 3. I can get my nachos will still be there in 3 minutes. So.
That's really nice attitude
I know.
to
Like,
have.
and like if you're at a con and the guest is there, then they know what they're there for. There's no reason someone should be grumpy if you see them in the elevator and they brush you off. Because I think, come on, you're there at the con to meet people, so that's the only reason you're there. So I mean, I always like, go ask for, in this day and age, like of course people are going to ask for a photo because they want to post on social media. That makes you look cool though as a celebrity so don't be a jerk about that. Of course.
Right, like now more than ever, people are going to ask for the photo.
Yeah. So my philosophy is like, like if you don't ask, the answer will always be no.
Okay.
So, and like if you meet a celebrity and they're a jerk to you, then that sucks for them. That's their problem.
Okay.
It's not your problem. You're in the public eye. You're the only reason that you are where you are is because people watch you or you buy your music or whatever. So my personal philosophy is go take the photo. It's going to take 2 seconds. It'll be on social media, and people will love you even more for that.
That's really cool.
That's my philosophy. It's not bothering me.
Oh wow.
You're not bothering me.
Well, Ming Chen, we are so grateful. You've been so generous
Thank you.
with your time. And
absolutely, I love what you're doing. I love, I think we'll do well. I think the Take Two podcast is here, but I think
Oh, the Take Two guys, we did an episode with
did.
them.
Okay,
Sure, we
great.
love those guys.
Yeah.
They're good buddies.
Yeah.
so I think we're the only 3 podcasters here, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the dream is to have just to take over conventions.
Oh.
Have
that'd
a
be
whole
cool.
alley, have a whole podcast
That would be
alley.
amazing. People could just like run down the way they
Yep.
do the media tours.
Exactly.
They can just
Yep.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That would be
That would be
cool.
amazing. Well, look, if
You're-
count us as part of your fan army.
All right,
if
fantastic.
You need us,
Fantastic.
we will be there for you.
Yeah, here's to many more episodes, and
Thank you.
I love it. Just keep going.
So, folks, Ming Chen, a Shared Universe podcast. He's on Facebook. Where else can people follow you?
Instagram, Twitter, Ming Chen 37, MINGCHEN 37. Comic Book Men is all 7 seasons on Amazon Prime Video. If you want to relive the magic of the 96 episodes that we shot.
That's amazing.
I'm around YouTube. I'm trying to gear up for that too. But definitely, if you come up to visit James and Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey, come down to a Shared Universe podcast studio and tell us about it. Like, talk about your experience. Me and Mike will jump in with you if you want.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So come, start a podcast. Have this much fun.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank
great.
you so much.
Of course.
You're an example for all of us. It is really
Thank you, guys.
a pleasure having you here.
Thank you guys.
and-
Friday night movie, everybody.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Be
you.
well, Ming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. You can follow all of the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram, or FridayNightMoviePod.com. You can follow Lily at Chichi K Gomez, that's ChiChiK Gomez, on Twitter. You can follow Becky at Paper BK Princess on Twitter. You can follow me at Pancake4Table, that's pancake, the number 4, and table, on Twitter and Instagram. And our theme music is by What Does It Eat? Thanks as always for listening.